To follow up two very difficult games with something much less frustrating, next is Shock Troopers. This is another of the Arcade Archives releases of Neo Geo games. I learned of this game all the way back in 2010 from a soundtrack video, but never got around to trying it out until this year. The plot is that the scientist George Diamond and his granddaughter Cecilia have been kidnapped by the terrorist group the Bloody Scorpions. This is so they can obtain the drug Alpha 301, which can convert a normal person into a superhuman soldier. 8 soldiers have been sent in to take the group out and save the hostages. I have the choice of playing as just one of the 8 soldiers or going through with a team of 3 that rotates with a button press. I'll be playing through once as all 8 and as one team, which is exactly enough to cover the 9 possible routes this game has. After choosing a character, I then have to choose between the jungle, mountain and valley routes to the Bloody Scorpions base. First, I'll start with the first choice, Jungle, and for its stage 1 we'll use my first playthrough as Jackal from the US. He's the first option on the select screen on the game's key art, and has some slight extra story presence over the others, as Cecilia Diamond is his girlfriend. So I guess he's the main character. The game's a top-down run-and-gun shooter with movement in 8 directions. My 4 buttons are shoot with a ranged attack up close, dodge, special attack, and change characters if using a team. Jackal uses a machine gun as his default with a knife as his close range weapon and throws grenades for his special attack. Although there are stronger weapons with limited ammo that can be picked up, like a flamethrower and heavy machine gun. As I keep moving up, I get many of the same soldier parachuting down, trying to shoot me or throwing petrol bombs. Some of them have cover, but the stronger weapons destroy it. Eventually some tanks start getting involved along with soldiers with rocket launchers. It's while dealing with these that I obtain the freeway gun, which fires in a spread. A little further north is a gate that opens to spew a constant stream of soldiers and even tanks, but a single grenade can wipe out a tank. Then it's moving right to reach a bridge. It's here I get my first death when 2 huge tanks show up on either side and missile me. A helicopter also hangs about trying to shoot me. Unlike SNK's other run and gun series, Metal Slug, you actually have a health bar and don't die in one hit. The tanks don't take too many hits to destroy, and the helicopter doesn't last that long either. I get a new kind of machine gun after crossing the bridge, the Vulcan. After a bit, the level has me going north again. I can see the soldiers trying to transport out their injured, but I just gunned them all down anyway. Is this a war crime? I'd Google it, but that would look shady. Past them, a big guy with a gun that shoots giant blue flames shows up. He can resist a few bullets, but he's still just a man and goes down like the rest. I cross another bridge to find that a huge group of them is hidden behind explosive barrels. They've also surrounded their watchtowers with them to make things easy for me. Then the stage boss shows up. It's a massive tank that follows me with its cannons. It has smaller guns firing the normal bullets while the cannon gives out big red fireballs. And after throwing out all my grenades into it, it also starts with firing a line of missiles down the screen from its back. As it starts flashing red, it comes out with even more missiles and a spread shot. Not much longer and it explodes, the driver getting out and escaping. That was a nice fun way to get me used to the tone of the game and set the level of chaos I'll be dealing with. Next, let's check out the first stage of the mountain route. This time I'll be going through as Southern Cross from Australia. He wields a double barrel machine gun, his special attack is to throw an explosive boomerang, and for his close range attack, he just decks the enemy in the face. Every character is around the same level of fun, but by the end I felt Southern Cross just slightly edged out over the others. I just keep heading north, getting much of the same enemies since it is the first stage. They try blocking the path with vehicles, but I just blow them all away. This stage also has huge mines planted on the floor that I'll need to avoid. It's not long before I've reached the edge of this cliff and have to get moving right. But first a jet comes up with its machine guns and missiles, but the freeway gun takes it down easy. I get crossing a bridge, shooting down the guys on the opposite cliff. I also get soldiers with jetpacks. At the end of the bridge I blow up all their equipment and move north again. Then it's more of the same until I reach this house and the boss shows up. It's the same tank as Jungle Stage 1, but it gives me the chance to show how powerful the boomerangs are when they explode, as they give off a huge L-shaped explosion. Throwing all my boomerangs at the tank just absolutely obliterates it. I don't really have anything else to say that I didn't say about the jungle stage. Then now to check out Valley Route Stage 1 with Maru from Japan. This one starts with me travelling across a dock and going through many boats. He has the double barrel machine gun Southern Cross has, the knife when up close, and his special move has him throwing poison gas bombs. If Southern Cross was just barely the most fun, I'd say Maru was just barely the least fun. Going north a bit I get scuba soldiers with harpoon guns before I'm moving right. I keep moving along the bridge as more scuba soldiers keep popping up. And then once again I'm heading north, crossing several more boats and blowing chunks off of some of them. And at the end I'm going right across another boardwalk until I reach this boat I jump on. The boat gets moving and I have to fight off a long wave of parachuting and jetpacking soldiers. After them I get some speeding by to the south trying to rocket and bomb me. I then alternate waves of parachutes and jetpacks and then those to the south a few more times until the boss, a giant jet, comes down. He has a pair of normal guns on each side and one that fires slightly bigger shots in the middle. It will pull away and lets out more soldiers and next tries dropping bombs on me. We end up double killing each other, but I have extra lives and the plane doesn't, so I win. I liked this stage the most of the stage ones I think. I liked the look of going over all those boats and it was the most different of the three. After the first stage we get a cutscene where the leader of the Bloody Scorpions tells Cecilia his motivation. He feels the world is too powerful to let the weak control it. The Bloody Scorpions are strong, so he thinks they should be in charge. Back to the jungle for stage 2, where I'm playing as Milky from France. This stage has me on a motorbike auto-scrolling to the right gunning down more soldiers. It's mostly soldiers on bikes, but we do get jeeps coming up behind me with rocket launcher soldiers inside. And there's also some jetpack soldiers as well. Gotta say, I enjoy the chaos this section brings with the exploding vehicles flipping about everywhere. But that death animation falling off the bike looks so painful. Eventually the cliff disappears and I enter a canyon, where a tank speeds in beside me. He has 5 guns on the side and is being driven by the same guy from stage 1. He once again escapes when the tank explodes. The bike reaches the end of the cliff and I leap off, landing in the water below. Milky has the standard machine gun, shoots with a pistol up close and pipe bombs for a special attack. After going right a bit I get moving north. Here the cover for enemies is rocks, which are more durable than the cover we've had before. I head right a little more and once all the enemies are cleared, I approach a gate which explodes and sends me flying back. This time the boss is a tank coming in from the side. It fights very similarly to the stage 1 bosses, just taking up a different amount of space. Milky's bombs are like Southern Cross's boomerangs, an explosion that spreads out a large distance. This lets me take it out in no time and the driver escapes again. The bike part was a lot of fun and the last section doesn't overstay its welcome either. Even just changing the position of the boss stops it from feeling too samey. Stage 2 in the mountain route shows my playthrough as Marie B from Russia. Here I'm fighting on the back of a huge truck while the enemy drops down. Marie has the standard machine gun, the knife when up close, and her special attack is a rocket launcher. This stage is very similar to the fight on the boat in Valley Stage 1. Parachutes and jetpacks, then followed by guys on bikes to the south, and then the pattern repeats, sometimes the 2 waves blending into one. Once that's done, the truck stops to let me off. I now have to get climbing this mountain. There's more jetpacks and normal soldiers coming out of caves. This doesn't control that different to walking normally. I can still move and shoot in all directions. The only difference is that I can't climb and shoot at the same time, since both hands are occupied. I get to the top where I next grab onto this rope and climb across it to the right. Once again I can't move and shoot, but I can still shoot in all directions and jump to avoid bullets. I reach the end and zipline down until the rope straightens out again. After a very long rush of jetpacks, I finally reach solid ground again to take on the boss. This time it's a helicopter that fires from the machine gun in the middle. I get firing all my rockets into it and it starts shooting missiles of its own. Then it starts adding a spread shot in too. I blow open the cockpit to find it's that stubborn tank driver from stage 1. He starts throwing bombs as well. This copter takes a lot of punishment before it finally goes down, the pilot escaping once again. 5 levels in so far and I really appreciate how the game mixes things up without changing too much, like with the climbing and ziplining. Valley Stage 2 next, where I'll be playing as Big Mama from Canada. The boat from stage 1 stops and I jump in the water and keep going. Big Mama also has the double barrel machine gun, also punches people out up close and has her own rocket launcher. I continue upriver until I reach land, where 2 turrets reveal themselves. Big Mama's rocket launcher is insane and has a much bigger explosion than Marie's. After them I get moving right, heading up these cascades and then once I reach the top, it's north again. To reach a couple huts against a wall that I blow up. More soldiers drop down from above and I'm going up to the right some more. A long walk north to find a dam with tanks driving along the top and cannons built into it. I blow the whole thing up and walk through it to enter this waterfall. Inside, the tank boss makes its first appearance in the valley route, coming in from the side. I have nothing left to say about this boss and it's destroyed with the driver fleeing once again. This was good too and I love how they made the water look in it, but it's probably the level I liked the least so far. Dr. Diamond is being threatened with the death of his granddaughter if he doesn't work on the Alpha 301 drug. Cecilia is locked away and if you're playing as Jackal, there's a moment where she looks at his photo and wishes for him to save her. Now for Jungle Stage 3, where it's my playthrough as Loki from Norway. I start off in this market watching the civilians flee. He has the standard machine gun and a knife up close, with his special attack being a grenade launcher. They're not taking any chances now, and from the start they have a vehicle storing too many soldiers than should fit in. As I get heading right some more, 2 stalls just explode into turrets. Once they're dealt with, they send 3 tanks in at once on me. Shame I started the stage with all my grenades used up or I'd wipe these out in no time. And as I move right some more, I believe these are the first enemies in the game using mortars. That's a pretty tiring fight, so I go inside Mikey's bar for a rest. But then the room explodes and the mini-bosses drop in. It's 2 soldiers with Wolverine claws. Not only can they slash me, they also have a large spread shot. They also have this drilling spin attack that they approach me with. I kill the first one easily enough, but then the survivor splits into 5. They don't last through a couple grenades and I move on. We can see the effects the bloody scorpions have had on the area as we have a group of terrified people left homeless, comforting their crying children. I just cross the bridge to the north and get blowing up anything connected to the scorpions. First appearance of the rocket launcher is here, put in between 4 mines by some prick. This is a fun one, he has the same explosive range as Milky's special attack. It would be useful for all the tanks coming in, but they kill me before I get much use out of it. But that refills my grenade launcher, so it's fine. I just keep heading north, taking out more tanks until I eventually reach the boss. It's pretty much the same tank I fought before a few times. I will say that's probably my only real complaint about the game, how much this boss is repeated. However, when I take it out this time, the driver stays behind and takes me on himself. He runs around firing his machine gun, throwing bombs and receiving backup from regular enemies. I just hang about in front of him and spam knife cuts and grenades until he's finally done. This was one of my favourite levels so far, having it take place in a residential area just gives it more potential to have more detail and make it more memorable. Mountain stage 3 now, where we'll see the final character, Rio from Brazil. He has the standard machine gun, punches up close and has explosive crossbow bolts for his special attack. He is basically Brazilian Rambo. This stage is the first place I get the speed up item which temporarily increases my movement speed. I head north a bit and wherever we are, it leads to some lava. I wonder if these people are trying to get themselves killed. Narrow paths over lava, so let's put mines there too. Want if you want to leave yourself? Tough shit. The narrow space does lead to this one really satisfying moment where I turn right and the freeway gun wipes out an entire wave in like a second. I get a slightly tougher soldier who can take more shots and rolls around trying to dodge me before I cross a bridge going north. Then it's right some more, destroying everything until I blow open the door to enter this base in the mountain. I keep moving right, destroying all equipment in my way, and find soldiers are now throwing gas bombs that stun my character for a bit by choking them. I fight through more of the same enemies until I reach a catwalk and get a new, stronger jetpack soldier. He moves much quicker and takes more damage, but he's still simple. Once I leave the catwalk, the next couple soldiers aren't even aware I'm here, as they're just doing their normal jobs as I kill them. At this point I come under attack from the boss, a giant forklift with spikes fitted to the front. It also sends out these blue homing lasers. It doesn't last long and I blow it up to reveal the tank driver again. This time he's even easier, as he doesn't receive any backup from other enemies. I liked the outside part of this level, but the indoor section was just a straight line going forward, so it wasn't very interesting. Valley Stage 3 now, where I decided to play through as a team of Southern Cross, Rio and Big Mama, as those were the 3 I found the most fun. I emerged from the sea to land on top of an aircraft carrier. Every other level before has had me travelling north or to the right. This is the first one to be mainly isometric. There's a long line of turrets on both ends to watch out for. As I keep moving back, I go up some stairs for a massive cannon to come out. It fires 3 shots at once, but I dodge them all and destroy it with ease. There's another one behind it, but I have way more space to avoid its shots with, so it's easier. At the end, a door opens and I go inside. This is a bit like the base section in the mountain level, but still isometric. I get a new soldier type in here, one that throws bombs that explode into blue electric orbs. Behind them is a door into the hangar. There's more people trying to kill me and one dude fucking the front of the plane, until I blow it up on him. So just keep heading forward, blowing up all their planes until I reach the end and take on the boss. That tank driver's finally ran out of vehicles, so he just takes me on himself right away. Not much else to say, I rocket him a lot and kill him again. I feel this level does the straight line thing better than the previous one I looked at did. The novelty of the stage being isometric helped. After stage 3 you're given the option to change routes. So to get every possible combination out of the way, Jackal, Southern Cross and Maru stay on their original routes. Milky and the team switch to the mountain, Loki and Rio switch to the valley, and Marie and Big Mama switch to the jungle. Not changing just as your character riding a train to the next stage, but if you change route you play an extra stage where you run up the train carriages to take it over. I'll just show my Loki run of this one. There isn't that much to say about it. You go through a wave of the usual enemies and at the end face another tank driver. It's a neat way to show the change in route without adding too much time to the game. Back to Marie for Jungle Stage 4, listed a number higher thanks to that transition stage. It's the usual enemies along with probably important ruins to destroy to take out the soldiers on top, along with walls of mines placed on the floor. It goes on like this with the missile launchers and the mortars for a couple of minutes until I'm actually climbing some ruins. I pick up a missile launcher of my own. It has 20 ammo, but one shot actually fires 4 missiles. It lets me climb the ruins with ease until a shot kills me and I lose it. So I keep zigzagging left and right up these stairs until I reach the top. The boss is the same helicopter I faced in other routes. Since I got here with a freeway gun and then died for a special refill, I blast through its health. I do like how since the recurring pilot is dead now, it's a different guy flying the copter, but when I take it down, he also escapes. At first I thought the level was nothing new until I reached this temple for the last half. That added some much needed variety to it. Stage 4 of Mountain, I'll go with Milky's playthrough. Now I'm at the top of the mountain, we're getting snow. Some of the soldiers are seen trying to warm themselves up next to fires. I can also blow up a hut to take out the soldier working the radio. Take out a couple of watchtowers and cross a bridge to some new cannons built up on nearby peaks. I then get crossing the bridge right where there's more of them, then north where another group of them hide behind explosive barrels. It's another wave of mortars before I reach another bridge to take on a wave of jetpacks. At the other end of the bridge it's fully snowed over and I even have soldiers hiding in snowmen. Once again, more mortars and even more normal soldiers filling up the screen trying to wear me down. I reach the end of the cliff and it's that same helicopter once again. I have literally nothing left to say about it, so I take it down again. Of course, bear in mind that I'm not fighting the same boss this many times in one playthrough. But I like this level. I always love snowy levels in 2D and early 3D games, just the look of them. Back to Rio for stage 4 of Valley. It starts with me somersaulting into what looks like a sewer. I move right with soldiers coming out of the tunnels in the back until I reach this waterfall and jump down. Move right a bit more and get heading north. It's a long stretch north until I reach a wall with tanks on it. I just destroy the wall to take them out. Behind it is a load of boxes containing Gemsa points and the first invincibility power up we've seen so far. The scuba soldiers return from Valley Stage 1 as I move right again, and then many more of the same soldiers until I'm going north again to reach the boss. The sideways tank returns once again, then once again I take it out with the new driver escaping. This one became my new least favourite level. It's not bad, but as you can tell by how short the section covering it is, there's not much going on in it either. We get a cutscene where the leader is informed that they are under attack. He's so pissed off he has no eyes and he decides he's going to give the player seizures, so I'll just place a screenshot instead of the footage. Stage 5 for Jungle, where I'll go back to Big Mama. Going right through a load of soldiers and tanks until I reach some mines, then heading north through some more mortars, and more harmless equipment to destroy for the fun of it. Going right again puts me up against more tanks and I clear out another wave to reach a door I blow open and enter. In here I have this large structure to climb. It's a bit like the temple in the previous Jungle stage, but instead of walking upstairs, I'm actually climbing up the ladders, and there's less space to move around with. There's a couple gunmen above me, but at first the main enemy here is the jetpack soldiers. As I reach the top, I get heading right, taking out many bazooka soldiers. As I reach the end, I face the same spiked forklift boss I faced in Mountain Stage 3. Nothing's different and I destroy it. The driver is fought a little differently. He's more erratic with his gunfire and he dodge rolls more, but he's easily brought down too. This level was fine. I'm glad for the change in aesthetic halfway through, as there's only so many things they could do with jungles. Returning to Southern Cross for Mountain Stage 5. Not long after starting, planes pass over and try bombing me, but their aim's a bit shit since they don't land anywhere near. And even then I get an invincibility power up. I reach a tank and some mortars and get a couple of trenches constantly spawning more soldiers. I then reach some kind of base where I'm blowing up barriers and throwing boomerangs at trucks. I fight through a few more tanks and since I'm on a runway, I'm chasing down this jet and shooting it while it's trying to take off. And north a bit more for the tank to return once again as the boss. This one seems a bit more aggressive than the previous ones though, starting off with the spread and being able to charge its main cannon for 3 shots at once. More importantly, it's very blue this time. I take it out the same way I did the others and for the first time in a while, the driver has the tougher soldiers that can dodge roll backing him up. My only regret is that I couldn't finish him off with a punch. I should say these levels are getting longer, but as the game introduces less new things, I just have less to bring up without repeating myself too much. But I like this level. The runway part doesn't look like anything else in the game. I'd definitely say the mountain stages have more variety than the jungle ones. But we've still got to finish the valley first with its stage 5, where I'll be Maru once again. It starts off with me climbing a structure like the one halfway through Jungle 5, but this time I have parachuters instead of jetpacks. They still show up after a bit though. Once I'm at the top, I'm on a bridge going right taking out more tanks. Notice that there are never any stretches of the game moving just left, always up or right. At one point I get bikers along with a new kind of tank, one that fires green lasers. After destroying it, I move on to the next screen. Here I'm moving north through the ruins of a city. It's a long stretch of tanks and bazooka soldiers before I reach the end of the road and get moving right through an alley. Maybe it's just because both games are on the Neo Geo and I played this game quite close to the time I played Fatal Fury 2, but Maru was always making me think of Cheng from that game. It's the glasses and the hair. I start getting soldiers jumping through the windows and then head north again. I get the return of this huge guy from Jungle 1, but he dies before he can do anything. Moving right again, I get back on the road. Then it's just a bit more for the boss, the same tank from Mountain 5. It has the same attack patterns, but when I destroy it, the driver is a little easier as he doesn't have any help at first. I get one guy quite a bit into the fight. The only reason this guy takes longer is because Maru has the worst special attack in the game. I'd say this was my favourite of the stage 5s. More variety in its locations, plus a huge improvement over the forgettable Valley 4. And back to Jackal for the final stage, which is always the same no matter which route you take. I blast open the gates to the Bloody Scorpion's headquarters and get wrecking everything. The shotgun guy who didn't get to do anything in the last level shows up and gets to last more than 2 seconds this time. I smash through all their mortars and their laser tanks until I reach another set of doors. I get a huge wave of soldiers before the doors open and more come out. I can then go inside where the leader has Cecilia. For all the losses he's had, he swears to pay back mankind. He tries to escape on a plane, but we follow him on a bike and jump on. Once we're above the clouds, I get heading right, taking on jetpacks and the cannons built into the roof. The pattern goes that the screen stops scrolling at the next cannon and doesn't move until both it and all the soldiers near it are destroyed. Then the screen moves forward to the next cannon. After the third cannon, I finally reach the leader. He walks around with his machine gun that fires a constant stream of huge fireballs. He'll pull out a missile launcher and fire 4 shots into the air for me to dodge when they drop down. Get close and he'll pull out a rapier and try cutting me up. He'll even do a 4-punch combo as well. He has a lot of health too, so you just have to wait patiently and eventually... The leader falls to his death and the plane explodes while you parachute down with Cecilia. If you're Jackal, they go for a kiss, and by morning, they and the doctor are being picked up. Cecilia is next seen writing about the experience, saying that although things are peaceful now, those terrifying memories will always stay with her, but so will the gratitude to the people who saved her. We then get a different ending picture for everyone. Jackal seems to have retired and gone travelling. Milky sunbathes at the beach. Loki hangs out on a balcony at night while wearing sunglasses. Southern Cross returns to his horse. Marie adopts a load of cats. Rio gets strangled by a monkey. Maru opens a hot dog shop. Big Mama returns to being a housewife where her kid still has the guts to defy his 8-foot tall brick shithouse mother. And if you complete it as a team, you get all 3 characters' pictures. And there is Shock Troopers. While this isn't quite a Metal Slug level run and gun, I still think it's a good, very fun game. Definitely worth the 9 playthroughs I did. I think it's kind of a shame this was only 2 games. I think it would have been nice to have a more grounded top-down sister series to Metal Slug. I know very little about the sequel, so maybe I'll find out why the series never got far if I played it. But for this one, of the 3 games I've completed in this episode, this one was my favourite.
Troopers, Second Squad.
It's been 10 episodes since I covered the first Shock Troopers, so why not finish off the series with Shock Troopers Second Squad? Aside from the style of gameplay, this game doesn't share much with its predecessor. Art style, plot, setting and cast of characters are all completely different. So it's hard to tell if this is a sequel set in the same world or a reboot. The story was made much more simple than last time. The Dio International Corporation, or DIC, led by a man named Nakatomi, has declared war on the rest of the world. To make their power known, they wipe out a city with their newest ultimate weapon and give all world leaders 72 hours to submit to DIC rule. Instead, a new squad of 4 Shock Troopers are sent in to deal with them. So yeah, we have the playable cast down to 4, but these 4 are more diverse in a gameplay sense than the cast of the first game. The first mission is called Sally Out Second Squad. For this first level I'll show my Lionheart Leon playthrough, since he was first in select screen order and so the first one I played as. The gameplay stays similar to the first game. Top down and movement in 8 directions, shooting, jumping and throwing bombs. Everyone also has a melee attack when the shoot button is pressed while up close to an enemy. Leon is the slowest but strongest character in the game, firing single straight shots of alternating bullets and missiles, using a knife up close and throwing frag grenades that cause explosions in a straight line. Killing enemies has them drop power stocks which can be built up to level up your gun. Leon was my least favourite of the cast to play as, because he's so slow it feels like you take forever to get anywhere. After dealing with waves of enemy soldiers, I also get tanks to take on. A new thing to this game is being able to take some enemy vehicles and use them yourself, like this tank. I can fire rapidly, charge a huge shot, or run the enemies over. If I have one complaint about the vehicles, is that it doesn't seem like they last long, or maybe I'm just terrible and wreck them in no time. My next new enemy are tanks that fire a spread of 6 shots at once. Killing one gives me said weapon, the Round Charger, except mine fires 8 shots. This weapon doesn't really do it for me. I find the normal gun far more useful. I head north to find a gate with an officer who threatens me before I blow said gate off and into this garden. I get some slightly more acrobatic blue soldiers who can roll around and actually try to avoid my attacks. I get my gun to level 2 which increases my rate of fire. Getting killed reduces you to your previous level, but makes some of the power stocks you've lost drop nearby. Eventually I reach the helipad in front of this mansion and get attacked by the game's first boss, the Big Lorry. The trailer opens up and constantly releases soldiers. Blowing up the trailer reveals a set of cannons to blow up as well, along with smaller ones travelling in front firing loads of tiny bullets. The cannons don't last long, leaving just the lorry itself. It moves back and forth with a huge cannon on its roof firing a big spread, but it doesn't last long either. That's this first stage clear. From here I have a choice of east or west, each choice determining my level 2 and 3. It's a bit like the route select feature from the first game, but on a much smaller scale, with only 2 outcomes altogether. I'll first show off the stage 2 going west, Air-Based Recovery Operation. For this one I'll show my playthrough as Lightning Eyes Lulu. Lulu is the fastest character in the game, but also the weakest, having a free spread shot, upgrading to 5, that takes a couple hits to kill even the weakest enemy. She uses pipe bombs that just cause regular explosions and shoots a pistol up close. She's still not my favourite character due to how weak she is, but her speed makes her more fun than Leon for me. This level takes place in a desert and starts me off with a load of soldiers in white and some in yellow, followed by a tank with flamethrowers built in. This is followed by soldiers using breakable rocks as cover. Further north is a new vehicle I can take, a jeep with 3 machine guns on top I use to take on these hovercrafts, then avoid being bombed by a plane. This is a good one when fully charged as it spins in a circle spewing millions of shots, but I lose it when one of the soldiers suicide bombs it. I get heading west and blow up the gate into an enemy base where my machine gun can topple entire buildings. I get going north again, walking through all the soldiers coming for me and taking on another tank that has a missile spread shot. During this I reach level 3 to make my bullets bigger, and the tank leaves behind a missile launcher. This has me shooting 6 missiles at once. I next have 2 of the Round Charger tanks and enough hovercrafts to slow the game down. They also show up at the north end of this area after a lorry crashes into the wall. Taking all that out has a plane come out of the hangar, but I take that down too and move west. Then comes 3 tanks at once shooting laser balls that explode after a certain distance. After them comes the boss, a huge jet. It's got 2 huge missile launchers on either side and next to them smaller guns. It starts by flying back and then carpet bombing the screen. I already damaged the cockpit in seconds though, and with my spread shot I keep piling on the damage while avoiding the ever increasing amount of smaller bullets and the odd missile. By the time it starts flashing red, it's firing a laser from its middle. But at that point it doesn't take long before the jet is completely wiped out, completing this stage. Next I'll show the Eastern Stage 2, Naval Base Recovery Operation. This one I'll be Ceramic Arms Angel. Her strength and speed is between Leon's and Lulu's. She starts with a double shot that upgrades to triple at level 2 and does some sort of explosive punch up close. She uses napalm grenades with explosions that spread sideways, like Milky's from the first game. After taking out some tanks that had the footage of them corrupted, I pick up my first flamethrower as I keep moving east. Angel is my favourite of the characters we've seen so far. She's fast enough but also strong enough to kill the enemies quickly. I reach the end of the base, and while fighting the soldiers, I also get them on boats passing by and throwing bombs at me. I then get heading north, going through a similar wave of soldiers as the previous level. During this I get jeeps with man turrets on the roof. These just fire little bullets, so they're easy to deal with. Keep moving north, getting the round shot tanks again. Eventually I go north enough to see a battleship pull up beside me. I keep going north, brute forcing through riot shields with the missile launcher until I reach the crashed ship, which opens up to release the stage's boss. I get on a boat of my own and follow. It has 5 targets, the 4 corners in the middle, and is covered in guns. Out of the top it will fire off little propellers and back off the screen until I deal with them. It comes back with 2 Gatling guns on the roof, and I take out both of the left targets. The guns fall seconds later. When it gets back in front of me, the Gatling guns are swapped for a big laser cannon as I deal with the right targets. At this point Angel has also reached level 3, which has her shooting 4 shots at once. The boss is flashing red by now, but I don't get to take out the right targets, as taking out the laser cannon defeats the boss and finishes the stage. The second mission on the western route is Pursuit of the Mobile Unit. Back to Leon, as only he and Lulu took the western paths when I played. I start on top of the speeding train, taking out the guns and cannons on the train next to me. Once they're done, I jump across the said train and run north up it, gunning down all of the soldiers crammed into such a huge space. While I'm doing this, another train comes up beside me covered in vehicles and turrets. It passes and I keep going north, where there's a man turret I take down quickly. Behind it is another turret and then a tank with flamethrowers. Then behind it is a missile launching tank. At this point I catch up to the train from earlier and blow up all its guns, and then do the same with another one that shows up on the other side. I move back over to clear out the right train of all the soldiers, climbing on board and then move left again to take out 2 jeeps, one firing nets and another firing gas clouds. Taking out more soldiers on the right lets me go north again to take out more tanks blocking the train I'm on. I even get my own tank for taking out more soldiers on the right train with. I then move on to the left train, taking out more jeeps, turrets and soldiers. Back going north and taking on the right train, we get mechs with machine gun arms to deal with. I keep alternating between shooting at the 2 trains until the left one is destroyed. While taking on the right one, an officer destroys my own train, so I jump back onto the one I started with. As the officer mocks me, the boss shows up, another train, which smushes him. It has 4 targets and opens up to fire missiles from the roof. The side targets open to reveal Gatling guns, but I take those out quickly while more turrets on the roof send out smaller bullets. One compartment near the top releases some slow moving fire bombs that move down my own train towards me, but I blow up the entire carriage for the next one to come down. This one has smaller guns and lasers on the side and big cannons on the roof. Once they're gone, a huge missile launcher shows up firing 2 missiles at a time. But eventually I take that one down and reach the front, which has 3 massive cannons in its roof. One is a flamethrower, one fires a full screen line of bombs, and one rapid fires missiles. The sides also open up to try to launch some rockets, but they get shot out easily. Until I run out, I like to use my bombs when the big attacks come out, since the bombs cancel out all enemy projectiles. Soon after I run out, I take it down and finish off a level. A satisfying one being able to cause so much destruction in such a short time and enclosed space. Mission 3 on the east side is Encounter with the Resistance. This time I'll be the last playable character, Ice Brain Toy. I enter the city and get to witness the fleeing civilians. Toy uses a laser gun that increases in size each level. His bomb causes a circular explosion, and up close he tases the enemies with an electric hand. I'd say he's second to Angel in terms of fun. He doesn't have the same drawbacks Leon and Lulu have. I take out the big laser tank at the beginning and keep going east, electrocuting everyone. I get a jeep and keep going, taking on most of the returning enemies now, as most enemies are being introduced. At a certain point, the street gets bombed by passing jets, and I have to go south as rubble is blocking off the east path. It's here that I see one of the officers having fleeing civilians gunned down. So I tase him to death, gaining the boomerang weapon. It can damage twice, once when thrown and then on the way back, but I didn't find it very useful as you can only throw one at a time and they're unarmed until it returns. I keep moving right some more, finding myself surrounded by more rubble. A soldier holding white flags runs by and coming into contact has her reveal herself to be on your side and grant you items. She's in most levels, it's just I didn't have a level playthrough where I got to her until now. Past that I get 2 huge tanks at once, a round shot one and one firing the laser balls. Past them is enough soldiers to slow down the game, an officer I aim for first, and jets passing by and bombing the place. There are mines in the ground here as I focus on blowing up the wall in the back. It lets me go north again once it's down, where I can get a tank while I get bombed from above. A single charge shot takes a massive tank down, and eventually I reach a group of soldiers and an officer threatening a resistance group behind a wall. They are willing to go down fighting, and Toy interrupts and takes the soldiers' attention. This is where the boss fight starts. Helicopters drop down 3 more segments of the machine already here and they connect. All 4 segments have guns on top, first firing small bullets and then opening up for bigger shots. After enough damage, the parts will separate and circle me, firing out their big drills from all angles. I take out the big back section first with my bombs and get 2 other segments trying to crush me while the last one sends out green projectiles. I try to focus on the one off to the side, but the one at the top of the screen goes before it. The 2 remaining parts come together again and start firing endless drills and bullets while swaying side to side. After dying and getting my bombs refilled, I get in close to spam them and take the 3rd one out. The last part hangs out in the middle of the screen shooting everywhere until we get a double kill on each other, but only I have continues. At this point the rest of the game is the same regardless of route, so stage 4 is always breaking loose of the occupation forces. Going back to Lulu for this one, I start going northwest and just wiping out the enemy before taking a jeep. I turn northeast and go up a long street taking out a load of different tanks while soldiers keep dropping in. I find the surrendering soldier, but this time she turns out to be an exploding skeleton robot in disguise. After taking out a bunch of tanks and heading straight north, they somehow think riot shields will stop me. At the end I take another tank and get going northwest again to take on another street of tanks. As I get to the point where I turn straight north, many of the tanks aren't even ready yet as we can see the soldiers still trying to get them running. They try the hovercrafts again, doesn't work. At the end of this street I approach a stone wall only for it to explode in my face to reveal 3 cannons. They rapidly fire 4 bullets at once, but I'm at my max weapon level so they don't last. Once they're gone I'm moving east. At the end of this street I scare off a mechanic in front of this gate and take one of the mechs he was working on before I blow the gate open. I walk inside with my rapid shot and charged rocket fist attack against some officers and laser tanks. Once they're gone I go through the gate towards Dio's HQ. I reach the front door and am taunted by President Nakatomi who sets the boss on me. The boss turns out to be the building's front door. There's like a million targets to this thing, many of them hiding guns of varying size behind them. They're also hidden in the shrubbery. I start by spamming my bombs on the front of the building to break down the bottom wall along with taking out a bush. I then go right, taking out the windows and bushes hiding guns there. The main building then reveals a huge laser cannon that aims at me along with sending out many smaller lasers to fill the screen. I just hang out in the top right corner dodging as many bullets as I can and trying to take out both the right hand targets and the cannon. The latter go first and so I focus on the cannon next. I take the cannon out soon after, which ends the boss right there and ends the level. This leads to the final mission, Crush the Ambitions of Dio. We're Angel for this one. Toy only gets shown off in 1 level. It's a shame but there are only 7 levels and one of them had to have 1 less. I start at the building's entrance and after taking out the soldiers here, I go up the escalator. I have a big wave of soldiers and hovercrafts up here before I can take the lift to the next floor. I take out the enemy up here and get myself a mech. I take it south and fight off a wave of hovercrafts at this fountain, then further south to fight off a wave of soldiers and mechs. Wiping these out has the lift show up with more enemies, then taking them out lets me ride it to another floor. I take out a room full of officers on a mine-filled floor and get moving west. I take out more soldiers until I reach another mech and take it north. I take out several riot shield soldiers and a wave by the next lift to ride up to the next floor. I head east until I reach a door marked Keep Out and through it comes a pair of laser tanks, but my new missile launcher destroys those easily. Going east some more takes me to more mechanics to kill and another mech to steal and wreck. I head all the way north, taking out more soldiers and turrets for another lift. This one takes me to President Nakatomi's office. He says we can't win as he's still got an ace up his sleeve. He backs away into the lift and we follow. We pan down a huge nuclear missile to see the president grovelling in front of Dio's true, unnamed leader. He blames the president for the coup's failure and shoots him dead. That's when we show up. With his army eradicated and his dream destroyed, he decides his only option is to burn the world with him using this missile. The missile gets moving and the leader hides inside. This is the game's final boss. He has several compartments that spin around it to stop, open up and shoot. They all store different weapons. Flamethrowers, lasers, big balls of electricity, lasers that create explosions along the floor, and every so often the leader will lower himself to take a few shots at me, giving the chance to damage him as well. Destroying one of the weapons has it release a flying drone that hangs around shooting at me and also needs to be shot down. Ignore them and you could risk having to deal with a few of these at once. You are actually on a timer here, but it's very generous. Running out of time gets you a bad ending. But I get killed so often from this that I'm constantly respawning with full bomb to spam before I get killed again and gain more. I take out all of the weapons, leaving several drones filling the screen with lasers, but even they eventually get destroyed. And once they're all gone, the leader drops down just to get himself finished off. The missile explodes and I get a text scroll telling me what I just explained. Not much of an ending as next is the credits. So I don't think Shock Troopers Second Squad is as good as the first game. A lot of stuff was scaled back like the multiple routes, the ability to cycle characters by lives, the plot. I don't think the drop in quality is very big though, as there are plenty of things to make up for what was lost. Vehicles are fun when you aren't wrecking them, there's more gameplay diversity to make up for the smaller cast, the change in art style works in certain places, giving a sort of Metal Slug feel sometimes. Plus I feel it has the better soundtrack of the two games. I really don't see it being ranked too far apart from its predecessor. And there's my 5th full series completed on this channel. I wasn't intending to finish 2 SNK series in a row, things just worked out that way. I've said before that of all these 2 game series I've completed, that Wild Guns was overall the one I found the best. But that's only if you count Wild Guns as a series, as the second game is an update to the original. If you don't count it, then Shock Troopers would be the best one so far. A really good game, and it's not quite as good but still really good sequel. I know I said it before, but it's a shame this series only lasted the 2 games. I'd really love to have seen where it would have gone if it had wound up with Metal Slug longevity. Comparing series I've covered so far from SNK, based on just what I've played so far, I have to wonder how Sengoku made it to 3 games while this series couldn't.